Order. All alderpersons are present. Thank you all for being here. And we have our new system, as you can see on the TVs here tonight, so bear with us with some technical difficulties perhaps at times. Move on to item 3 on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a silent prayer in lieu of invocation. I invite you to please stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Back on here. Thank you. Item 4 on our agenda this evening is the explanation of the visitor speaking procedure. Individuals wishing to address the body may do so tonight after being acknowledged by an alderperson in which they're yielding their time to you. I invite you to the podium. Make sure that the microphone has a green light at the base so that way we can pick you up on the live recording and on our speakers here in the council chambers. Item number 5 on our agenda this evening is the oath of office for City Clerk Jennifer Gossick. Attorney Schill and Jennifer, and have you go to the front there.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jennifer Gossick,
I, Jennifer Gossick,
having been appointed to the office of City Clerk
having been appointed to the office of City Clerk
for the City of Wisconsin Rapids,
for the City of Wisconsin Rapids,
swear that I will support
the
Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability. So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And Jennifer, did you want to address the body?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, my name is Jennifer Gossick. I am a native of Wisconsin Rapids, and although I moved away for a short period of time, I came to my senses finally and moved back home. So, as City Clerk, my first week, I have been starting the training that I'll need to be able to discharge the duties of my office, things like learning how to do the licenses and permits, working with the Wisconsin Elections Commission to prepare for the upcoming elections. I've reached out to several of the clerks in the surrounding areas and started building relationships with them so that we can network together and help each other out. And I also have done the training for the software the new voting system that we're doing tonight. So far it's going okay with this new system, but bear with us as we work through that. So I want to thank all of the aldermen here for putting your trust in me and for giving me the opportunity to be the city clerk and to serve all of you and of course our community. And I look forward to working with all of you. So thank you.
Thank you. Item number 6 on our agenda this evening is the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting, which council members, as a reminder, both the regular and special meeting attachments 1 and 2 in your packets.
I'll move to dispense with the reading and adopt the reports.
We have a motion to approve by Zerflu. The 2. Cancel. I think so. We have to wait to have the system recognize your motion. Sorry, that's something I guess we didn't have the remotes in 8 people's hands before. So just hit, if you could not press the remote for just a second, hit cancel.
Okay.
And just keep hitting cancel. We've got everybody else's seconds. I think about 20 of them up here.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
Go ahead and click the motion to Zerflu.
Okay.
Right there.
There we go.
Yep. And then whoever wishes to hit the second button may do so at this time. Not all at once. Motion second by Kellogg. Hit cancel. We have a motion and a second on the minutes. Is there any discussion on the minutes? See no request to speak. Moving to a vote. Please cast your ballots. And you can read the vote.
Motion carried, 8 ayes, 0 nays.
Item number 7 on our agenda this evening is my report. Good evening, council members, staff, and those here are watching from home. The Mayor's Youth Council has begun their refinement and review of their top choices from 9 project proposals as they select their 2018 and 2019 priorities. They're narrowing it down to their top 4 choices and plan to come to a consensus at their next Youth Council meeting. A few of the projects they are considering are a family teen movie series in a downtown park, role within the zoo improvements, bike and recreational trail signage, among many others, to include the farmers market, other downtown developments, including the Tribune Building and others. And we've got 2 of our youth council members here tonight. If you want to introduce yourselves, join in Harrison to the body, since they'll be seeing one or both of you at most of our council meetings.
Yeah, I'm Jorian Greenwood. I'm a senior at Lincoln High School, and I'm the president of Mayor's Youth Council.
And then I'm Harrison Sullivan. I'm a junior at Lincoln, and then I'm the treasurer.
Excellent. Thanks for being here tonight, and we look forward to seeing you at our meetings. The Beautification Council will meet at the Cultural Center this Thursday at 4:30 p.m. During this meeting, the group will get insights on the proposed Jackson Street Arts development, their new site on Jackson Street, possible collaboration and with the Beautification Council on various projects, and their agenda includes reviewing potential projects for the spring and summer of 2019. And as always, the public is invited to attend those meetings. On the airport, work is largely silent until spring when the remaining asphalt work gets completed on the apron project. In the off-season, the commission is reviewing last year's operational activities and areas where we need to improve or possibly add additional equipment. The large commission hangar project that the state has agreed to fund is currently under state negotiating the design contract with the firm that the airport had selected to do that work. We've completed our review of the features of that airport hangar and look forward to kicking off formal conversations with the design consultant after the first of the year. As just a heads up, if you've been watching our agenda or reports, which are at the end of our council meetings generally, annexation of land will be an item for this council consideration in the future, as it is likely that hangar would like to be serviced by city utilities. Obviously, welcomed our city clerk tonight. Been working, as she had indicated, with training and certain transitional items within the city clerk's office, and so we welcome Jennifer. In the category of attended, hosted, and participated, during the last month, we held our formal lighting ceremony with a number of the players that are in the audience, with the community members from the Chamber of Commerce and many other folks that coordinated the Rekindle the Spirit. In the area of ribbon cuttings, in that section, ribbon cutting was held for the entrance signs last week, as well as a ribbon cutting for the much anticipated opening of Dunkin' Donuts here in Wisconsin Rapids. And then, as a reminder, for board, commission, and committee appointments, I invite residents to register their interest by filling out a form within the city clerk's office for consideration of an appointment at an upcoming meeting. And on the pool project, as many of you are all aware or have heard, there's a donor that stepped forward with a $2.5 million contribution to the project in the form of a match. And we've been in the process of scheduling a number of those meetings, and look forward to keeping the council and the community up to date on that particular project. And that concludes my report. Item 8, consider a special ordinance annexing territory to the city of Wisconsin Rapids, attachment number 3 in your packets. Council members, what are your wishes regarding item 8?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Zerflu. And is there a second? Second by Katnaugh. The ordinance apparently wasn't filled in your packets, but it was effective the 13th day of November is when the petition was filed with the city clerk. Any requests to speak on that particular item? Seeing no requests to speak, we'll move into a vote. Please cast your ballots. The motion is to approve.
Okay, tallying. Motion carries, 8 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you. Item number 9, consideration for adoption the actions of the Planning Commission at its meeting on December 3rd, 2018. Planning Commission met at 4 p.m. on December 3rd in the 2018 in the first floor conference room here at City Hall. Members present included myself, Alderperson Thad Kubishak, Tom Bray, Daniel Hansen, Lee Tao, and Sue Wesley. Absent was Shane Burkhart. Others present are on file in the clerk's office. The meeting was called to order at 4 p.m. The approval of the report of the October 15th, 2018 Planning Commission meeting was item 1. Motion by Tao, second by Hansen to approve the report, and that motion carried unanimously. Item 2, maps and plats received. Item A was a quick trip CSM. The applicant is requesting a certified survey map, approval for the combination of two parcels into one, and the dedication of property as public road right-of-way. The subject properties are located at 4611 8th Street South. There was a motion by Tao and second by Wesley to approve the quick trip CSM for those parcels, contingent upon approval of the annexation of those parcels, and that motion carried unanimously. Item B was other maps and plats received. Review the Rick Dubois extraterritorial survey. Staff has reviewed with no concerns, and there was a motion by Wesley, second by Tao, to approve that CSM, and that motion carried unanimously. Item 3 was public hearing on Plan 18-1000, North Point Development. The applicant is requesting a planned development district to permit a mixed-use development featuring residential, institutional, commercial, and parking uses. The subject properties are located between 3rd Avenue South and 7th Avenue South, north of Chase Street. The properties are commonly known as 301 7th Avenue South, 220 3rd Avenue South, and 350 3rd Avenue South. The public hearing on Plan 18-1000 was opened at 4:06 p.m. Speaking in favor was Andy Dumke from representing the developer, Nikki Uharty from Wood County Health Department, Brett Salscheider from the Southwood County YMCA. Speaking against was Patrick Arts, 421 7th Avenue South. Speaking neutral was Susan Feith, Meadwitter Foundation, with questions regarding the number of exceptions requested. The public hearing on Plan 18-1000 was closed at 4:10 p.m. Item 4 was action on Plan 18-1000, North Point Development. There was a motion by Hansen, second by Tao, to approve that plan with the 11 conditions recommended by staff. See attachment A, and that motion carried unanimously. Item 5 was ZRH Partnership Annexation Petition, also known as Quick Trip. The applicant is requesting the annexation of property into the city. The subject property is located immediately south of 4611 8th Street South. There was a motion by Wesley, second by Hansen, to approve the annexation of parcel 0700909 AA to the City of Wisconsin Rapids, and that motion carried unanimously. Item 6 was a public hearing on Plan 18-1008, Quick Trip. The applicant is requesting a rezoning from the R2 Mixed Residential District, pending annexation, to the B2 General Commercial District. That subject property is located immediately south of 4611 8th Street South. The public hearing on Plan 18-1008 was opened at 4:35 p.m. Speaking in favor was Troy Melezva from Quick Trip. Speaking against was none. Speaking neutral, Bill Clendenning, the Town of Grand Rapids, Greg Allen from Maples Motel, and the public hearing on Plan 18-1008 was closed at 4:49 p.m. Item 7 was action on Plan 18-1008, Quick Trip. There was a motion by Bry, second by Tao, to approve Plan 18-1008 to rezone that parcel from R2 to B2, General Commercial District, and that motion carried unanimously. Item 8 was Plan 18-1009. Quick Trip was requesting a site plan review for the reconfiguration of an existing convenience store and gas station facility located at 4611 8th Street South. There was a motion by Hansen, second by Wesley, to approve with the 4 conditions recommended by staff and the addition of no overnight parking signage being included in that. See attachment B. Motion carried unanimously. Item 9, adjournment. There was a motion by Tao, second by Kubishak, to adjourn. Motion carried unanimously with the meeting adjourning at 5:10 p.m. Alderpersons, what are your wishes regarding item 9?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Katna. And is there a second? And a second by Zerflu. Getting a few notifications up here. Sorry about that. Ignore. Yeah. And then hit.
Oops, sorry.
There you go.
There we go.
Any discussion? Seeing no request to speak, please cast your ballots. The motion is to approve.
Motion carries, 8 ayes, 0 nays.
Item 10, consider for adoption the actions of the standing committees of the Common Council as follows. Item A, Finance and Property Committee meeting held on December 4th and the Finance and Property Committee meeting held on December 11th. Alderperson Zerflu, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Honor. The first report from December 4th, Finance Property Committee met at 5 p.m. Tuesday, December 4th in the first floor conference room at City Hall. All members were present. A list of others attending is on file in the clerk's office. Item number 2, consider a referral from Alderperson Koth that effective for the budget year 2019, the Finance Property Committee be notified and allowed to take action for or against any project that requires a bid or any project that requires bonding. No action was taken on that item. Item number 3, a referral from Alderperson Koth that the public hearing for the annual budget be held prior to the council meeting that the budget will be voted on. There was a motion and a second to hold the budget meeting at least 1 week prior to the adoption of the budget. That motion carried unanimously, 3-0. Item number 4, consider a referral from Alderperson Koth that if the budget is not approved by the deadline, the council shall not receive pay until the budget is passed. No action was taken on that item. Item number 5, audit of the bills for November 2018. There was a motion and a second to approve check numbers 74431 through 74750 and manual checks 99806 through 99822. That motion carried unanimously. Item number 6, beverage operator licenses. There was a motion and a second to approve the beverage operators licenses for the people that will be on file in the clerk's office. That motion also carried unanimously, 3-0. Item number 7, the Finance Property Committee scheduled its next meeting on December 11th, 2018 at 5 p.m. Item number 8, there was a motion and a second to adjourn. That motion carried unanimously and the meeting adjourned at 6:10 p.m. And I'll make a motion for the adoption of the report.
We have a motion to approve the 2 reports by Zerflu. Is there a second? Second by Blazer. Move into discussion. Are there any requests to speak? Alderperson Catnoy, you're first.
I would just ask for those who didn't get to see the meeting, if Attorney Schill, I think you're the one who brought us the information. Could you elaborate on item 4 and why no action was taken on that?
Report A, the first report? Or
Correct, yep. The referral by Alderperson Koth. Yep. Yeah.
And actually, since the meeting, I confirmed with legal counsel for the League of Wisconsin Municipalities that it would be inappropriate to have something that changes the pay of an elected or a governing body official during that person's term. Once the salary is set for a term, it cannot be increased nor decreased. And also, it's set for the person, it's set for the position, not the person, not how well of a job they're doing or whether they're passed certain legislation or not. So by doing or by having such an ordinance that would change pay based on certain actions would be against public policy, and that was also the advice that I received from the league. So I strongly encourage you not to entertain something that would change your pay.
Alderperson Zerflu, you're next.
Just a point of clarification, I only read the first report.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
So the motion to approve was the first report, and the second was for the first report. Is that right? Okay. All right. Any further requests to speak? Thanks for the clarification. Seeing no further requests to speak, please cast your ballots. The motion is to approve the first report.
I thought I did. One of those.
Motion carried, 8 ayes, 0 nays.
Alderperson Zerflu, the second report.
Thank you again, Your Honor. The Finance Property Committee met at 5 p.m. Tuesday, December 11th, 2018, in the first floor conference room at City Hall. All members were present. A list of others attending is on file in the clerk's office. Item number 2, consider approval of a Class B intoxicating liquor license and a Class B fermented malt beverage license as submitted by BCA Enterprises LLC, Corey L. Abbott, agent, doing business as B's Tap House for the premises located at 140 East Grand Avenue. There was a motion and a second to approve the Class B liquor license and Class B fermented malt beverage license as submitted. That motion carried unanimously. Item number 3, consider an ordinance eliminating the bond requirement for the city treasurer as it pertains to state and county taxes owed to the county, and obligating the city to pay those taxes to the county treasurer. There was a motion and a second to approve the ordinance eliminating the bond requirement for the city treasurer as it pertains to state and county taxes owed to the county, and obligating the city to pay those taxes to the county treasurer. That motion carried unanimously, and you can see attachment number 1. Item number 4, in open session, the committee will vote to go into closed session under section 19.85, parent 1, parent E of the Wisconsin statutes, which reads, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. In closed session, the committee will discuss negotiations and strategy regarding the sale of real estate and preliminary discussions regarding a development agreement. There was a motion and a second to go into closed session pursuant to section 19.85, parent 1, parent E of the Wisconsin statutes. A roll call vote was taken. All members voted in the affirmative. That motion carried. In closed session, the committee discussed the negotiations and strategy regarding the sale of real estate and preliminary discussions regarding a development agreement. Item number 5, the committee will vote to go into open session. There was a motion and a second to go into open session. A roll call vote was taken, and all members voted in the affirmative. That motion carried. No action was taken. Item number 6, consider retaining Ehlers and Associates for tax incremental financing services. There was a motion and a second to approve the proposal from Ehlers and Associates for assistance with the creation of tax incremental district number 8. See attachment number 2. That motion carried unanimously. Number 7, update on aquatics to include fundraising, construction schedule, and overall timeline. Mayor Ruink gave a presentation and update on the Witterfield Aquatics facility and the announcement of a $2.5 million match grant for the project. Item number 8, set next meeting date. The next meeting of the Finance Property Committee will be Tuesday, January 8th, 2019 at 5 p.m. due to the holiday. Item number 9 was adjournment. There was a motion and a second to adjourn. Motion carried unanimously. The meeting adjourned at 6:30 p.m. And I'll move for adoption of the report.
Motion, motion to approve by Zerflu.
I tried to second.
I think you just,
I pushed second the motion.
No, it won't let me do it.
okay.
It's just a second.
I'm trying to.
And if we could just have you hold from hitting a second button until we can get the motion on the right. Yep, you want to do okay. Hit it and then okay.
Hit this
Mm-hmm.
one. Okay.
And then okay. And then hit the,
Oh, there we go.
and as we have a motion by Zerflu, is there a second? All right, we got a second by Kellogg. Move into discussion. Are there any requests to speak? Seeing no requests to speak, please cast your ballots. The motion is to approve.
Motion carried, 8 ayes, 0 nays.
Item 10C is a report of the Public Works Committee meeting held on December 4th. Alderperson Rheaume, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Public Works Committee met at 6:22 p.m. on Tuesday, December 4th, 2018, in the first floor conference room at City Hall. The meeting was publicly noticed to start at 6, but was delayed by an ongoing Finance and Property Committee meeting. All members are present, others attending are on file in the clerk's office. Item 1, review the DPW report. The report was reviewed and is available to view online at www.wirapids.org. Item 2, review of East Riverbank Phase 2 proposed plans and cost estimates. The East Riverbank Phase 2 proposed plans and cost estimates were reviewed. It was moved and seconded to include tuckpointing as part of the base bid of the East Riverbank Phase 2 project for the entirety of the wall, from the south edge of Veterans Park to the northeast corner of Mead Rapids View Park. The motion failed 0-3. It was moved and seconded to include tuckpointing as part of the base bid of the East Riverbank Phase 2 project for the entirety of the wall, from the south edge of Veterans Park to the northeast corner of Mead Rapids View Park, and include the balcony as a bid alternative. Motion passed 2-1 with Rayom voting in the negative. Item 3, review and consider approval of a proposal for consulting services to prepare the East Riverbank project Phase 2 contract documents for bidding. It's moved and seconded to accept the proposal by MSA Professional Services to prepare final plan, contract, and bid documents for the East Riverbank Phase 2 project. The motion passed unanimously. Item 4, review scope for a 1 Mile Creek flood study. A general service contract was reviewed for a watershed analysis of the 1 Mile Creek. This will be considered for a future capital improvement project. Item 5, review referral to discuss the slope mowing along the East Riverview Expressway. The slope mowing along the expressway was discussed. Due to the steep slope and the challenges getting everything mowed, this area was selected to mow the flat areas but not the slope areas. Item 6, review proposed garbage and recycling ordinance language. It was moved and seconded to propose this review until December 11th. Item 7 was to take action on change order proposals related to A, the West Side Lift Station manhole replacement. It was on expected manhole condition. B, West Side Lift Station slide gate, stem structural support, the change of condition. And C, the aquatic park security camera design, additional scope. It was moved and seconded to approve the change orders for A, B, and C as presented. The motion passed unanimously. Item 8, review referral document approved by the HR committee and consider approving its use for the Public Works Committee. No action was taken. Item 9, review the referral list. The referral list was reviewed, and a referral requested to prohibit the use of cell phones for non-committee activities during Public Works Committee meetings. That was added to the list. Item 10, motion was to adjourn. Motion and second to adjourn. The motion carried unanimously. The meeting adjourned at 8:32 p.m., Your Honor.
We have a motion.
Oh.
Do you want to just do the first?
Oh, again, whichever way. Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll do it
Okay.
just for the sake of the
With that,
capturing the votes up here.
Your Honor, I'll move for adoption of the report, holding out item 2.
We have a motion to approve the report with the exception of item number 2. Is there a, go back there just for a second. Is there a second? We have a second by Koth. We'll move into discussion. Are there any requests to speak on the report with the exception of item 2? Seeing no requests to speak, we'll move into a vote. Please cast your ballots. Yeah, you can go.
Motion carried, 8 ayes, 0 nays.
We'll move on to item 10C2, the review of the East Riverbank Phase 2 proposed plan and cost estimates.
With that, Your Honor, Scott has something he'd like to say here first.
So you're going to yield your
Okay,
time
if
to
you want to recognize him.
Alderperson Kellogg.
Yeah, this is on with regard to number 2. I really have concern about not putting the balcony as part of the DNR Stewart Grant. To me, it's an integral part of the downtown. It's going to attract business, it's going to attract businesses, and you're going to have people going down there and congregating and enjoying our river. And it's part of the grant. If we don't do that, and it's an alternate, the city's going to lose over $200,000 that we could have used to put this balcony in. And the wall isn't part of the DNR Stewart grant. The wall is separate. It's a maintenance item. It's tuck pointing. And it's not necessary that we have to do it now. If we find that the wall comes in with bids that are excessive, it could be done over time and spread out. But if we're going to create business, and that's what we want to talk, as aldermen, every time we have debates, we talk about we want to create business in our city. Well, business isn't big companies necessarily. It's not the big industry. It's the mom and pop stores that people want to go to and spend their money. I'm on the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And their method that are saying that we want to put heads in beds. We want to create tournaments so people can come, stay in Wisconsin Rapids, and have places to go after they stay in those hotels. So I think, in my opinion, that that balcony should be part of the project and the wall should be separate. And I'm going to make a motion. The motion is to include the balcony as part of the base bid for the East River Phase 2 project and include the tuck pointing for the entirety of the wall from the south edge of Veterans Park to the northeast corner of the Rapids View Park as an alternate.
I'll second. Oops.
We have a motion by Kellogg and a second by Rayom, and we'll move into discussion. Are there requests to speak?
There might be some people in the audience that would like to speak.
We'll go to Alderperson Graff first,
Sorry.
and then others, if they want to recognize individuals, can do so via their remote, and then we'll get them in the speaking order. Alderperson Graff.
As I alluded to in the meeting, during this meeting, is that at the end of the day, as aldermen, we have to make sense of the way we're spending money. It's not necessarily the scope of the project that's in question or whether we should do it. The problem is that we have sinkholes by the clock tower. Now, we can assume that it's bad soil, compacted soil that has eroded over years and created sinkholes by the clock tower. But I would argue that the rest of our city was built on the exact same soil, being that our city is over 100 years old. And I don't necessarily notice sinkholes like we notice over by the clock tower. I think the important thing is not necessarily to deter this project. I was not in favor of this project to be done this year. And the reason is because I think by putting 1.5, 1.6 potentially $1 million above a surface that is eroding out is completely inappropriate for us as aldermen to spend taxpayers' money that way. I would like to think that we would have a little bit more common sense when it comes to redoing the whole top of a surface and not addressing the maintenance issues that are the wall underneath it. Like I said, I discussed this earlier, and I'd be more than willing to debate this with anybody.
Alderperson Zerflu, you're next.
I'll yield my time to anyone who wants to speak.
Alderperson Zerflu yields time to anyone wishing to address the body. So you may come up to the podium and make sure that the microphone is on and that you introduce yourself for the record. Thank you. Make sure the microphone's on.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Okay. Hello, my name is Sarah Saluki. I am a resident of Wisconsin Rapids. I work for Wood County Health Department and volunteer my time with the Mayor's Beautification Council and Current, an organization that advocates and engages young adults and families in the city of Wisconsin Rapids. I was also born or raised here, spent my whole life here. My family resides and does business here, and I proudly call this community my home. I brought with me today a handout that I share with those who are in attendance behind me, and I'll briefly read through some of those points. I was in attendance at the Public Works Committee meeting on December 4th here at City Hall, where the motion to pull the balcony out of the project bid process and into an alternate bid was motioned. I wanted to take the time to compile the facts stated at the meeting so that those here tonight may have a better and clearer understanding as to what is being decided tonight. At the Public Works Committee, there was a lot of new terminology and facts that were talked about quickly and quite convexly, that it was for a resident, like myself, easy to get lost in the details in the conversation. Sometimes someone needs some time to think about the issue at hand and be able to inform an informed opinion and confirm their facts before they can really present and know what they're talking about. So although I did not speak at the Public Works Committee, I'm here tonight, and I will gladly share some of my thoughts. So first, I shared with everybody behind me the motion that was made by Thaddeus Kubitschek, Lee Graff, and voted negative by Tom Rayom. Like I said before, there was a lot of terminology that was used, so I also provided everybody with a quick just what is definitions for what is a bid alternate and what is tuck pointing. So for those who might be listening, what is a bid alternate? It's a bidding process where specific pieces of a project are pulled out and bid on separately. These pieces then, dependent on low or high bids, have an option to be added to or removed from the overall project. What is tuck pointing? Tuck pointing is a labor-intensive and costly maintenance activity that helps to prevent erosion of material from behind the river wall and to support the wall's overall integrity. Tuck pointing is a normal maintenance practice performed to ensure the longevity of the wall. In addition, on this handout, I provided everybody a quick visual. These are just some snapshots from the renderings that were provided on the table as people walked in. Some facts about the balcony is proposed to be 76 feet long and hanging 12 feet over the river, and there will be room for gathering spaces, tables, and seating. The balcony does not rest on the existing wall. It goes over the wall and is anchored in the park area. So again, it does not affect the integrity of the wall. I also have provided a few facts. So I wanted to share these because I learned these facts at the Public Works Committee, and I'll try to be quick with my speech tonight. These are meant to be objective facts that I share with everybody so that they can inform their own opinion. However, I will gladly state my own as well. The project budget for Phase 2 is $1,538,000. That budget was approved by the committee. $625,000 of this project is funded by a DNR stewardship grant. Here are some facts that I have learned from the Public Works Committee meeting that I attended, then rewatched the video of multiple times, as well as reached out to council members and city staff. Generally, alternative bids are used to call out items that organizations may want to forgo or do themselves due to cost. They put contractors on notice that it is a questionable item. If items that are bid as alternate bids cannot be scoped to fit a budget, there is a greater chance that said item will not be implemented. The balcony does not need to be pulled out as an alternative bid. Funds are available from city bonding that was approved in the December 2019 budget and through DNR stewardship grant funds to complete Phase 2 in its entirety. The balcony feature was included in the East Riverbank Phase 2 project budget approval. Tuck pointing is not currently in the Phase 2 budget, but it was suggested to be included in the scope. Tuck pointing is deemed a maintenance activity and it cannot be paid for with DNR stewardship grant funds. Tuck pointing was budgeted for an estimated cost of $200,000 in the project. Excuse me, that's incorrect. And tuck pointing is likely to cost more than $200,000 due to the high probability of unforeseen costs and additional maintenance. These costs can always balloon and cut into more of the features that will be in Phase 2. There are no immediate infrastructure issues at the moment with the river wall. Visual inspection does not show an immediate need for or high concern for river wall degradation. Maintenance tuck pointing is recommended. If tuck pointing is not included in the East Riverbank Phase 2 budget, it will still occur in the near future or over a spanned amount of time through the allocation of city funds. Including tuck pointing as an alternative provides flexibility to reduce the scope of the tuck pointing work. It is likely to be bid as a unit cost item such as square foot. Reducing the square foot of tuck pointing to fit the city's budget is possible, whereas the balcony will likely be a lump sum item, which will prevent the ability to modify the scope of that item and then will be completely removed from the project. There is an estimated $200,000 in leftover funds from the Phase 1 project. These funds, with council approval, could be allocated and utilized for tuck pointing or overall project improvements for Phase 2. The cost of the balcony is projected to cost roughly $390,000. Half of the balcony is paid for with the DNR stewardship grant funds. City bonding could cover the other $195,000. The bond over 20-30 year equates to about $1.40 per $100,000 assessed value of a home for a taxpayer. Removing the balcony does not equate to the city saving the amount allocated to the balcony. There is still cost to put in railing, redesign, river wall, work, concrete, etc. Almost done.
You're actually over your time, so
Oh, you only get a certain amount.
5 minutes, yeah. I'm sorry.
Let somebody else read the rest.
If somebody wishes to address the body, they can get acknowledged by members of the council. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further requests to speak, alderpersons? Alderperson Kubitschek.
Sarah, what is your address again?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's
So I currently live at 521 Bruce Lane, just one property line out of city jurisdiction, close to your district. However, prior to 2017, I lived in Wisconsin Rapids and paid property taxes on my home there.
Okay, so you're not a city of Wisconsin Rapids resident.
By district, no.
Are there further requests to speak?
I can give Jim Gignac would like to speak.
Jim, would you like to address the body? And then Alderperson Koth, are you next? Are you withdrawn?
Yes, sir. When the East Bank was first going in, I didn't particularly like it. But as Phase 1 progressed, it's beautiful. It cleans up the East Bank. It makes it accessible. Demetz Park is now a park, and I applaud Phase 1. This is about Phase 2. If you don't put in the balcony, it's not going to complete the project project. Taking out the balcony and putting it as a separate issue, according to the people that I've talked to, could make the DNR stewardship grant a problem. That it would have to be resubmitted because the balcony was part of the original grant request. When you take something out of that, you have to resubmit the grant. I would say do it right the first time. The balcony would cost almost $200,000 of taxpayer funds. You reduce the taxes or the tax burden this year, which I applaud. But when you add this in, if it does affect the tax base or the tax rate, it'll still be less than the 2017 tax bill. I still think there are grant funds out there to make up that $200,000. There's concern about the tuck pointing and the balcony. The balcony does not have anything to do with the tuck pointing. I'm sure that you all received this handout. On one of the pages of this handout, it shows where the tuck pointing will take place. It's way back away from the wall so that the balcony can be cantilevered out over the river. If you take this out, then the redesign has, or it has to be redesigned. That's going to cost megabucks. It's going to delay it because the contractors have to review the bids that they have turned in. If at some point in the future you decide to put the balcony back in, a lot of the work that you paid for by not putting it in the first time is going to have to be covered because they have to tear out and redo a lot. I'm urging you, after me talking to a lot of residents, in fact, there's quite a few that have asked me to take a petition around to each of your wards. I didn't have time to do that, but it can be done. I would urge you to put the balcony in. It's since the people have seen the quality of work and the aesthetics of phase one, they want phase two to be a class act. They want it to be what it was proposed in the grant request to DNR. I hope you will reconsider, hold this item out, and have it voted on as a separate item and pass it. And as far as taxes for senior citizens, this town is made up of senior citizens. I'm one, and I'm asking to have this done and completed as proposed. Thank you. Is there any questions?
You're right at your time. Thanks, Jim.
All right.
Are there further requests to speak, alderpersons? Alderperson Kubitschek, you're first.
Thank you. One of the things that I guess I'll address why I voted in particular in terms of making it a bit alternative. It's a case where in the meantime we learned that we got a wonderful gift from a donor, and I don't know if we can say the name or we can't, whatever. I'll be anonymous with that, or I'll leave it anonymous. But it still leaves a $4 million shortfall for this aquatic center that we've been working on and previous councils have been working on for basically since the Mead pool ended. And where are we going to get the money? I mean, it's a case where I've never been against the pool project. In fact, when I initially got elected, I wrote a personal check for that myself. That's how much. I don't have kids. I don't. It isn't going to directly affect me. I don't think that I'll be out there at that aquatic center swimming around too much. But it's a case where the reality is that this particular $2.5 million grant is contingent upon the city finalizing the gap of $4 million for the completion of, or for the initiation of that pool project. And I just keep on scratching my head. Where are we going to get the money? Taxes just came out. My taxes went up. I circulated nomination papers this weekend, talked with a lot of people. And maybe my cross section is different. Maybe I live on a different part of town, but there wasn't anybody that asked me why I voted against the budget. There wasn't anybody that asked me why I voted against this particular project initially, and why I had changed this. And in fact, actually quite the opposite. I had a favorable fear from this. But it's a case where, again, we don't have a money tree out front. I wish we did. I wish I had 3 of them, but we don't, and we're bonding for these particular projects. And the question is, do we buy a vehicle to take us to work, or do we got to buy a Lexus with all the chrome whistles and everything else, and it's going to depreciate in time? This is not an investment. This is a liability that the taxpayers are going to foot the bill, and especially if we bond it, it's going to be for the next 20 years. So again, we got to have our priorities in line, and I'm with Mr. Geniak a little bit. Let's do it right the first time and tuck point the wall, make sure everything's stabilized, and go from there. So that's my 2 cents worth.
Are there further requests to speak? Are there, Alderperson Graff?
I would like the opportunity to address the tuck pointing issue, and I understand that the balcony doesn't rest on the wall. The issue is the erosion of the soil on the underneath of what we're going to potentially put down throughout the whole project. That's the issue of the tuck pointing. It's not necessarily the integrity of the wall, it's the integrity of the soil on the shoreline of the wall, which if we turn around and put cement over it and we create a sinkhole, now we're spending more taxpayers' dollars in repairing a bunch of soil because we didn't tuck point a wall that the river's been washing away. That's the issue with the tuck pointing. I just wanted to address it. Thank you.
And Alderperson Graff, do you want city staff to respond to what's either been said or your concerns? Or I guess I would go to city staff if that's a desire. Alderperson Zerflu, did you want, Alderperson Zerflu, you want to yield time to city staff to address the question related to the inclusion or exclusion of tuck pointing activities within the project, I think is the concern or the question, as I understand it.
So just a few comments regarding the tuck pointing. The tuck pointing, although the timing to do it with the project would be beneficial, using it as a base bid does somewhat hamper the city's flexibility at bid time. Without knowing the complexity of the tuck pointing work in full, there are some uncertainties with that scope and what the bids will entail. Having tuck pointing as an alternative would certainly provide the city some flexibility at bid time, where the scope can be repealed, it can be downsized and adjusted to fit the city's budget and move forward.
Alderperson Kellogg, you're next.
Well, we just heard the comments that we don't have a money tree, but we're receiving over a $600,000 grant from a DNR stewardship. And if we don't do this project this year, who says we're going to get the $600-some thousand next year? We're going to lose it. And we won't have that downtown as a focal point for businesses and not businesses, but more people spending money down there. So the other thing too, we talk about that this is not an investment. I say it is. I keep hearing, I heard the one statement is that there's enough things going on down along the Veterans Park. We don't need it. And that's the mentality Wisconsin Rapids has over the years. We don't need it. It's the status quo. And I say, no, it's about time. I keep hearing people say, there's things out in Stevens Point, let's go visit there and have dinner. Up in Marshfield. We're going to attract new money downtown from Grand Rapids coming down to have supper at Jennings and going over there. They're going to have weddings that might take place down along this balcony. We have empty stores down there. I know of one store that is going to open up just because they're hearing about this. And so I say it is an investment. I don't understand this. You're going to have people going down there and spending their money. And it's an investment to those people that own the businesses. And again, I'm on the Convention and Visitors Bureau. We constantly talk about how we can promote tournaments and things in Wisconsin Rapids, and we're doing a great job. We really are. But the thing is that when people stay over, they can spend their money downtown. This is an investment. And I disagree. If you're talking about a money tree, if I can get $600,000 over that for the city, I'll take it rather than lose it and then have the same old downtown.
Are there further requests to speak? Technically, you've had your 5 minutes to speak, so council members will yield time if they wish to other individuals that may wish to speak. Generally, we allow no longer than 5 minutes to be spoken, and I didn't follow the timer on as well as I probably should have on the first one. Apologize for that. Are there any further requests to speak? You're going to give some time to Jim. All right, Alderperson Rayom, yield some time. Jim, come to the podium, please.
Thank you. I'll make it quick. The people that live in this town have not been adequately informed of what's going on. Our illustrious newspaper is not publishing a thing. The people are left in the dark, and it's not just this balcony in phase 2. It's just not being publicized. If the people knew what was going on, you would have gotten questions. You would have. And they would have been in the positive to build this. Thank you.
Any further requests to speak? Alderperson Kubaschak.
I guess I'll take my whole 5 minutes up.
Should we start where you finished?
I'm
just kidding.
I guess I want to know what the rate of return is for residents like Grandma Jones and other people who have lived here for 30 years, have paid taxes here for 30 years, who live on a fixed income, who are only relying on Social Security because they weren't blessed to have employment with any type of a pension. And as property taxes go up, as products in the store go up, as gasoline, everything else, nothing goes down. And I want to know, if there's 1,000 people that come to this balcony, how much money will Grandma Jones receive back from this if this is an investment?
And I guess I'll take the liberty to address a component of that, and I think it's just from the fact that I've read research and literature from ARP and other organizations who do research that individuals, particularly those that are low income or on fixed incomes, generally benefit from public spaces more than the rest of us that are maybe fully employed or have dual income situations in their families. So I just wanted to address that. If you consult the research or the literature from ARP and other National Association for Public Places and Public Park, the Park and Rec Association, NERPA, I think they'll cite that generally people that benefit the most are those that don't have the financial means to have access to these spaces maybe on their own property or to travel to other spaces. I just wish to address that. The second point I want to address is with city staff. The question about the cost of tuck pointing. There was some early numbers shared at the last Public Works Committee about what extent we're talking about for tuck pointing. I think it makes sense for everyone while they're considering the motion, as well as any further discussion that may come forward maybe after this item or after this meeting tonight related to the tuck pointing and any further information that you've been able to gather for the benefit of the council.
Sure. So because tuck pointing hasn't been part of the project design or the engineer's estimates, staff's been recently trying to estimate some costs for those activities. And they do vary somewhat significantly. At the time of our public works meeting, the best information we had is it was going to be somewhere in around that $200,000 mark. We've gotten some more information that suggests that it really depends on how much mortar needs to be chinked out before the tuck pointing goes in, that it could be as much as $450,000. So it does vary. It depends on conditions. From my own observations, a lot of that surface mortar is already gone. But the fact remains that it is a maintenance activity. As a maintenance activity, it's not required to be competitively bid. That when you do bid projects, it is not likely, in my opinion, that the general contractor would be performing that work. So it's going to be subcontractor work. There's generally 5 to 10% markup by the general contractor to perform, to have a subcontractor performing for them, because they have a margin that they make on their subcontractors as well. I guess as a professional I think Alderperson Rayom's motion makes sense, that because this is a maintenance activity, having it as an alternate allows the city the largest flexibility to either include it when the bids come in or to reject that. It also doesn't have any impact on other components of the project. Most of the time when you have an alternate, it's something that's easily removed from the project. You don't have to design the project twice. It's a component. In phase one, we removed the comfort station. Removing the comfort station didn't require redesign. It didn't require other considerations. If the numbers come in good, I think it'd be to the city's advantage to try to do the tuck pointing at the same time. I think getting that project done would be wonderful. But at the same time, if the numbers don't come in well, having the flexibility as an alternate allows us to try to negotiate where you can't necessarily do that with a bid. It allows us to advertise, to do it in components, some of it now, some of it in the future. It allows the maximum amount of flexibility, and I think that's of benefit to the city.
Thank you. Any further requests to speak? See no further requests to speak. The motion is to include the balcony in the base bid with tuck pointing added as an alternate bid item on the East Riverbank Phase 2 proposed plans. See no further requests to speak. Please cast your ballots.
There we go. Motion carries, 5 ayes, 3 nays.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 10D, which is the Public Works Committee meeting held on December 11th. Alderperson Rayom, the floor is yours.
Almost forgot I had another one. This is a short one, though. The Public Works Committee met at 6:15 p.m. on Tuesday, December 11th, 2018, in the first floor conference room at City Hall. All committee members were present, with Alderperson Blazers substituting for Alderperson Graff. A list of others attending is attached to the minutes. Item 1 was called meeting to order. The meeting was called to order at 6:30 p.m. Number 2, review the draft of the City Ordinance, Chapter 7, Landfill Mandatory Recycling. It was moved and seconded to approve Chapter 7, Landfill Mandatory Recycling, as presented. The motion carried with Kubiszak voting in the negative. Item 3, review the referral list. Review of the referral list was deferred until the next Public Works meeting. Item 4, adjourned. It was moved and seconded to adjourn. The motion carried unanimously, and the meeting adjourned at 7:40 p.m. And with that, Your Honor, I move for adoption of the report.
We have a motion to approve the report by Rayom. Is there a second? Second by Zerflu. We'll move into discussion. Are there requests to speak? Alderperson Kubiszak, you're first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess I'll address why I voted no in the committee meeting. And the more and more that I kind of thought about it, I want to continue to vote no. Us members here on the council are the ones that create policy. And if some of the policy doesn't work, we can change it, but we're also blamed for that. And one of the main deals that I've seen, and unfortunately, we had been working on this for quite a while, but the little bit of information that we had gotten back from the Department of Revenue because of levy limits and everything else, we're removing garbage pickup for a certain population in the community. And one of that is the individuals that live in the mobile home parks. And this kind of goes back, again, for myself, I guess, looking out for the little guy, looking out for people on fixed incomes. People in mobile home parks don't have that much more money. They don't have disposable incomes that can really absorb this. And this is a case where if we don't provide services like we provided in the past, the owner of the mobile home park manager, whoever, is going to have to contract out, and that cost is going to be burdened on the mobile home owners themselves. So I guess, like I said, I voted no on that, and the more I thought about it, I'm going to vote no because I'm not. Where taxes are going up like crazy, but yet we're cutting services, and especially cutting services to a population who needs these services. So that's my point of view on that. Thank you.
Alderperson Zerflu, you're next.
A month ago or maybe longer, I think I thought the same thing. And talking to people as it's been kind of evolving and explained at different committee meetings and everything, I do see the utility of the ordinance the way it is written. I guess to me, everyone that has a lot gets a can. And I mean, services getting cut, they are if you look at maybe duplexes around one lot or something, but one of these cans is still 96 gallons, which is still by ordinance the amount you can put out. It's 32-gallon cans, the biggest you can have. You can have 3 of them. It's 96 gallons. I believe these are 96 gallons. So, and actually, a few of the voters in my area that at first had concerns with me that they addressed to me about this, and I had to echo a lot of them, have kind of faded away, and I guess everyone that I've talked to anyway, I guess kind of understands this now. So that's really all that I wanted to add about this. I understand the apprehension for sure, but.
Are there further requests to speak? Seeing no further requests to speak, city staff, is there anything that needed to be addressed based on the comments? Okay, we'll move into a vote. The motion is to approve as presented. Alderperson Koth? Sorry, go ahead.
There's someone in the audience I'd yield time to, so a hand go up there.
Jim, did you have a hand, or I don't know who it was? Jim had a hand up. Alderperson Koth is yielding his time to you.
Thank you, sir. And I agree with your comments, Mr. Kubasek. I'll go back a little bit. The newspapers are not either being provided, or they're not just plain publishing city business. They're not being told the negatives, what's being taken away from the traditional or for years things that the city does. Trash pickup, like a chair, a lamp, a carpet. This is now going to be taken completely away. And you talk about cost to seniors and stuff, just the people throughout the town. They're going to have to find a way to get to the landfill to haul this stuff. Then they're going to have to pay the tipping fee. Well, for the entire length of time that I've lived here, that's been free. If it wasn't in the ordinance as it is presently written, it was still done. And, you know, these things have become a quality of life. And the thing about going to have to drive down to City Hall, pay $10 for tags to go onto bags that you may have excess, like at Christmas time or birthdays or graduation parties. It's for as often as it would take or would be to have a couple extra bags out, like maybe 3 times a year, the city should just pick up those bags. As far as the trash goes, it's been done. It needs to be completed. I have no qualms, no concerns. In fact, I think it's good to have the automatic lifters to lift these bins. I'm glad they're 96 gallons. That's 3 trash cans. That reduces the chance of bags immensely. I'm talking about a couple of times a year that a household would have bags. As far as the trash thing goes again, maybe once a month at least, that you could announce that the trash would be picked up. Lamps, a chair, some carpeting that's being thrown out. Instead of dropping it completely. But once a month would be a good alternative to what is being proposed, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. And thank you too.
Are there further requests to speak? We have a motion and a second on the floor. Seeing no further requests to speak, the motion is to approve the Public Works Committee meeting held on December 11th as presented. Should say that. I should have said Ken. Sorry.
Motion carries. 5 ayes, 3 nays.
Okay, we'll move on to item 10E, a report of the Human Resources Committee meeting held on December 7th. Alderperson Coth, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Honor. Human Resources Committee met at 1 p.m. on Friday, December 18th, 2018, in the first floor conference room. All members were present. A list of others present is on file. First item was to review and consider for approval the revised requesting personnel and recruitment selection policy. The revised policies are in response to a referral from Alderperson Blazer. Discussion took place around the city's internal hiring and selection process for replacement, modified, and/or new positions. A motion was made by Chairperson Coth to revise the existing policies to remove references for approval from the Mayor, Finance Director, and HR Director for replacement positions. Motion was seconded by Alderperson Zerflu. Motion carried. Item number 3 was to review and consider for approval a modified job description and associated compensation for the wastewater maintenance technician level 2. Ryan Giefer explained that the person in the position is operating at a higher level than the current job description. Ryan indicated that the city is saving money on equipment repairs because the incumbent is functioning at a higher mechanical level. Chairperson Coth made a motion to accept the revised job description as presented. This was seconded by Alderperson Kellogg. Motion carried. Item number 4, discussion around the open position in alternate staffing models for city inspector position. Approval may be requested to extend the city's current contract and/or solicit bids to enter into a new contract for third-party inspection services. Adam Taggett outlined various options for building inspection services. A motion was made by Chairperson Coth to extend the current third-party contract for 6 months and modify the existing inspector position to a senior level to attract qualified pool of candidates. Motion was seconded by Alderperson Zerflu. Review referral from Chairperson Coth regarding contracted recruiter for human resources. There was discussion around current recruitment workload. Dawn Urban explained that HR is experiencing an increase in open positions. A motion was made by Chairperson Coth to refer this to Finance to identify a funding source. Alderperson Zerflu seconded this motion. Motion carried. Item number 6 was review and consider for approval temporary contracted services for GIS needs. Dawn Urban indicated that the city's GIS coordinator recently left employment and there may be a need for GIS maintenance until a new GIS coordinator can be hired. The city wants to ensure all current GIS projects stay on task. A motion to enter in contract with Chris Canty was made by Alderperson Kellogg and seconded by Alderperson Coth. Motion carried. Item number 7, the committee may vote to go into closed session pursuant to section 19.85 para 1 para C of the Wisconsin State Statutes, which reads, consider the employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. In closed session, the committee will consider older persons' Coth request for lump sum payment to senior generalists in recognition of additional duties undertaken since the HR assistant retired in July. A motion to go into closed session was made by Chairperson Coth and seconded by Alderperson Zerflu. A roll call vote was taken. All members voted in the affirmative, and the motion carried. In closed session, the committee reviewed the referral from Chairperson Coth. A motion made by Alderperson Zerflu and seconded by Alderperson Kellogg to return to open session. Roll call vote taken. Motion carried. The committee returned to open session and made recommendations may make recommendations for lump sum payment to the senior HR generalist. In open session, a motion was made by Chairperson Coth to table this agenda item until the referral is made for the deputy clerk. The motion was seconded by Alderperson Zerflu. The motion carried. In open session, the committee voted to go into closed session under section 19.85 para 1 para E of the Wisconsin statutes, which reads deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require closed session. A motion was made by Alderperson Kellogg and seconded by Alderperson Zerflu to go into closed session. A roll call vote was taken. All members voted in the affirmative. Motion carried. In closed session, the committee will discuss ongoing negotiation strategies and parameters regarding successor labor agreements with IAFF Local 425, WRPPA, and ASME Local 1075. Discussions for ongoing negotiation strategies took place in closed session. A motion was made by Alderperson Zerflu and seconded by Alderperson Kellogg to return to open session. A roll call vote was taken. All members voted in the affirmative. Motion carried. The committee will return to open session and may take action on successor labor agreements with IAFF Local 425, WRPPA, and ASME Local 1075. In open session, a motion was made by Chairperson Coth to offer a 2.25 increase for ASME Local 1075, seconded by Alderperson Kellogg. Motion carried. Item number 12 was consider for approval a wage increase for non-union employees for 2019. A motion to approve a 2.5% wage increase for 2019 was made by Chairperson Coth and seconded by Alderperson Zerflu. Motion carried. Item number 13 was to set the next meeting date. The next HR committee meeting has been scheduled for 4 p.m. January 8th in the first floor conference room of City Hall. Item 14 was to adjourn. A motion was made by Alderperson Kellogg, seconded by Alderperson Zerflu. Motion carried, and the meeting was adjourned at 3:15. Just a correction for item 13. We've since moved that back 30 minutes to 3:30. With that, I'd look for approval.
Was that a motion to approve?
Yes.
We have a motion to approve by Coth. Is there a second? Second by Zerflu. We'll move into discussion. The motion is to approve the entire Human Resources Committee report.
I'd like to pull out number 2.
We have a request to hold out item number 2 by Kellogg. Is there a call for unanimous consent? Is there any objection to holding out item 2? Hearing none, we'll leave the balance of the report, which is with the exception of item 2 in the Human Resources Committee report. Move into further discussion. Alderperson Graff, you're first.
I would like to hold out item 3.
We have a request to hold item 3 out. Is there an objection to holding item 3 out? Seeing no objection, we'll also withhold item 3. And it'll just take us a minute to get that in the system since we have to build that every time that happens. So we'll just do new. And then I would just do number 2. Actually, we can do that next. Sorry, we can do that second after the vote. All right, move into discussion. Are there any requests to speak on the report with the exception of items 2 and 3? Seeing no requests to speak, motion is to approve with the exception of items 2 and 3. Moving to vote, please cast your ballots.
Motion carried, 8 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, we'll move into item, we'll do them in order, item number 2. Alderperson Kellogg, did you want to speak to your request to hold that item out?
Yes, we really had a good discussion at the HR committee. And there was, I was kind of on the fence with regard to recommendation. There was some concern if the mayor and finance director or HR director has to approve replacements, it's going to take more time to fill positions. And possibly some positions might be more political. Well, it seems like with the HR and we actually with the Common Council, everything's political. But I kept thinking, I think the mayor as the chief executive has a better insight as to how positions should be filled. 8 out of 10 positions most likely are no-brainers. I mean, there's an opening, we need to fill it, and it should be timely. But sometimes 2 out of the 10 might have to have more review, more references, more recommendations. And since we have, our role is a fiduciary body, and we talk about property taxes, we talk about seniors, and the biggest part, one of the biggest part of our budget is personnel. Personnel always goes up if it's raises, if it's fringe benefits, if it's insurance. I mean, when the other areas, you buy a truck, the truck's a truck, there's no fringe benefits. An ambulance, there's no fringe benefits. And I think we have to make wise decisions with regard to personnel. And I think the more people involved in giving us recommendations, like I say, many of the openings should be and could be filled quickly. But there are times where departments shouldn't work in silos. They need to talk to each other, and department heads have to meet. And maybe with technology, there's always more demand by our citizens on the city wanting more things. And are we going to just keep with the same amount of personnel? Or do we have to combine positions? And maybe we have to hire new positions. I'm not saying it's reducing personnel. I'm just saying I think the HR committee has to have good references that we could decide and then pass on and recommend to the Common Council the best recommendations that we can have because it's budgetary. And it's important to look at it that way. So what I'm asking is that this go back to the HR committee and have us spend some more time thinking about how we could make sure we can fill positions quickly that need to be filled and how we can make sure we fill positions wisely as we have to keep in mind the budget. So my recommendation is I'd like to make a motion or a recommendation that this goes back to the committee for further review.
We have a motion to refer this item back to the Human Resources Committee by Kellogg. Is there a second? Second by Catnaugh. Move into discussion. Alderperson Blazer, you were indicating request to speak.
I was going to make a motion, so I'll just hold off.
Okay. Any further requests to speak? Any further requests to speak? Seeing none, the motion is to refer this item back to the Human Resources Committee. Please cast your ballots. Oh, we've got a tiebreaker. We wanted to see if we could use this tonight, so thanks for giving us the chance. I'll agree to that. I think when I was on the phone for the discussion that was had about this item, I had indicated that I wasn't intending or wasn't planning on vetoing this legislation if it came before me. And since that time, a number of folks have contacted me and said, "Are you crazy? And I said, I don't think I'm crazy, but I think I should take another review of this, and I think it warrants further discussion at the committee level. And if the different product comes to this council or not, additional discussion certainly is warranted. As I stated at the committee meeting, I wasn't clear. I had asked in sort of a case law or a law situation, what's the evidence that the system is currently broken? And there was no evidence presented, so therefore I will agree and send this back to the Human Resources Committee. Right. And then, sorry, she's reminding me that. So motion carried, 5 ayes and 4 nays. Move on to item 3E, which is report of the Human Resources Committee held on December 7th. Item 3 is review and consideration of approval of a modified job description and associated compensation for the wastewater maintenance technician number 2. Alderperson Graff, did you want to speak to your request?
Yes, please. When looking at the minimum education experience, which is on page 161, I have a question more about item D. I'll give you a second. Did you find it? In-depth knowledge of building and equipment maintenance, electrical repairs, plumbing maintenance, HVLC systems is required. I ask anybody who has that certification. Nobody? Seems almost impossible to achieve, and we're making it a requirement. That's my question about this. Being in the maintenance field, I obviously know what to expect from people and understand that what it takes to do a job. To ask somebody to be a carpenter, an electrician, a plumber, and HVLC worker, and have it be required is an unreal expectation. I think it warrants, knowledge in this experience, but I think ultimately it should be rewarded. And with that, I move to send this back to committee as well.
We have a motion by Graff to refer this item back to the Human Resources Committee and a second by Katna. And I'll ask for clarification just to make sure everyone's understanding what you're saying in a second. So I guess we'll give the second to Zerflu since the computer recognizes Zerflu. And just for point of clarification, you're referring to minimum under, in the job description under minimum education and experience item D.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct. Unless it's the body wants to
provide. I was going to go to HR director to weigh in or clarify.
That's what I mean. Unless we want to try to solve it here without sending it back to committee, I'm okay with that as well.
Don, did you want to speak to that, or Attorney Schill?
Right. My question was, where does it say that it requires a certification in those fields rather than knowledge in those fields? Or maybe maybe that's
well, and
sure
that's
that
I guess
to be,
maybe
right. Okay.
Not say is required, but maybe say is desirable. Change it to desirable, because to obtain all of these classifications, extensive knowledge in electrical, especially with the amount of power that you're running at the treatment facility, I don't necessarily feel it's appropriate.
Dawn, did you have anything to say?
Sure. So if I can, I think that we could probably clarify this with changing that wording to is required, change that to is preferred, is beneficial, is helpful. I mean, I guess I wouldn't want one word to hold up the job description. I can definitely understand where you're coming from.
With that, I withdraw my motion.
Okay. We will withdraw the motion in a second. I was just going to offer another clarification that perhaps is required is removed, and just say in-depth knowledge of, and so that way you're being some more subjective. But I don't want to muddy the waters if that's what maybe contrary to what you were thinking. Alderperson Kubitschek, you're next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess I was going to look over at Mr. Tagan and ask him, is that in the building inspector's job description? Because it seems like we can't find anybody that's got experience all across all the trades. So I was just going to try and make a joke, but I guess it's not funny. So,
other than certifications, right? Somebody bluffing on a test or getting through a test might be a little bit different. I guess I I would entertain maybe a motion to amend if we wanted to get formal on that, unless there's unanimous consent to amend that with a certain way. Joe, did you want to state something?
Yeah, I guess just a reminder too, the purpose of this position is to recognize that there are multiple levels of experience for this technician type position. And this level 2 is for someone who has exemplary skills. You know, in the particular situation that we're looking at being able to avoid calling in contractors to do troubleshooting activities and repairs, that the person would have the skills necessary to do those types of repairs in-house. And to segregate, you know, someone who has average skills would be a technician 1, and someone who has in-depth knowledge, high level, whether it's through experience or education, certifications, whatever, that this particular job description and this change that's proposed doesn't eliminate another job description. What it does is it creates a range where, you know, if an employee at the wastewater plant, if the technician is average, they wouldn't be able to have this pay grade in this position. Just for clarification.
Alderperson Graff?
Just to be clear, I missed item E, which is a formal mechanic training is preferred as well. So we have a carpenter, electrician, a plumber, HVLC, and a mechanics position that we're requiring people. And I would doubt that anybody has, unless you're a certified electrician, has an extensive knowledge on buckets, 443 phase, and whatever powers you deal with there. That's the reason I'm asking for this to be changed. I don't necessarily see this, I don't want this to be a hindrance for somebody trying to promote them or trying to get the additional education moving forward. But to say that it's required to have it, like I said, I would doubt without a certification, especially in electricity, that you would even be able to say that it's applicable for this position.
Right, and knowledge and performing electrical modifications is two different things, right? The knowledge is being able to understand how to troubleshoot, how to review, understanding the limitations, and not necessarily to perform tasks that a certified electrician would otherwise be required to perform.
The floor is open to a motion if anyone wishes to make a motion on item number 3.
Dawn, I'm sorry, can you please, what were some of the wordings you used just to make sure I can get this correct when I change it?
Sure. So what we usually use in job descriptions, if instead of required, would be preferred, beneficial, helpful. Any of those phrases would be acceptable.
I'll make a motion just to mimic the language underneath it to read preferred.
Okay. So item D, the last 2 words would be changed, or last word would be changed to preferred instead of required. And we have a second. Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing no further request to speak, the motion is to approve with that amendment. Please cast your ballots.
Motion carries. 8 ayes, 0 nays.
Item 11, reports of other committees, commissions, and boards. Department reports. Item A is the Board of Zoning Appeals held November 13th and December 11th. Item B, McMillan Memorial Library held on November 21st. Item C, the Mayor's Youth Council held on December 10th. Item D, the Wisconsin Rapids Fire Department report for November. Item E, the Waterworks and Lighting Commission held on November 14th. Item F, the Wastewater Treatment Commission held on December 5th. And that concludes item 11. Alderpersons, what are your wishes regarding that item?
Make a motion to approve the reports.
Motion by Zerflu. Is there a second? Yeah, just click on it and then hit OK. Hit cancel. Now you go. Is there a second? Motion by Zerflu. Second by Kellogg. We'll move into request to speak. Anyone wishing to speak on that? All right, motion is to approve those reports as presented. Please cast your ballots.
Motion carries. 8 ayes, 0 nays.
Item 12, referral of communication to committees. Are there referrals? I do have one that I intended, not a referral, but intended to address Meredith Klecker in the back. She is here. She's a new face to the community, and Meredith, if you wouldn't mind just standing. If you do want to address the body, you can do so. I intended to do so at my report. Meredith is now the executive director, is the new executive director at the Convention and Visitors Bureau here in Wisconsin Rapids. So we welcome Meredith to the community. So thank you. Any Alderperson Graff?
I'd like to make a motion to the HR committee for compensation for the city clerk. The assistant city clerk.
And clarify your referral one more time, restate your referral.
It was, and that's why I want to take it back to committee.
Is this related to merit recognition?
Merit recognition for
the
Sue
the administrative assistant.
Administrative assistant for her job as the city clerk.
Thank you. I think the policy allows for that, so I think.
At the last time the HR addressed it, they said to hold off until a new clerk was appointed, and that the mayor would then make the referral. So I'm assuming that's
It's consistent with, I guess, my
Yeah.
schedule on that, so I would accept it, I guess, as a referral. But thanks for the clarification. Any further? This is a non-voting. Actually, we've already done that item, so you can. So we're on. Oh yeah, that's a non-voting. Sorry, you can hit edit, and then non-voting. Other requests to speak? Seeing no further requests to speak, we'll clear that out. Yeah, click on it. Alderperson Graff?
I would like to make another referral to the committee of the whole. I'd like to set up an employee morale survey that gets sent through to all employees in the community, not in the community, but in the city. I would like to have this morale survey set up. I don't know if the guidelines are appropriate in the committee of the whole, or if we send this to HR to develop the survey and review it at the committee of the whole.
Any further requests to speak? Seeing no further requests to speak. We'll
So
move on.
then just to make sure that referral will go to the committee of the whole then.
So maybe we can restate the referral for the record. Sure. So the referral is to have an employee
morale
climate survey be discussed at the next
committee of the whole meeting.
Attorney Schill, do you want to clarify and state that normally those items would go through HR, but do you have, reading your mind, I don't want to assume.
Yeah, I guess I was just said it probably go to HR, the HR department to determine, what type of, what it would look like, and I don't know then if they're going to just execute it and the results are coming back to you, or you want to be involved in the HR committee should come up with how it's done, or I guess I'm not sure, maybe Dawn has some thoughts on that.
Yeah, I do actually. And typically when organizations or employers want to measure engagement, they use something called the Q12, the Gallup survey. It's very nationally and internationally accepted. It would cost money. I think the last time I looked at it, it'd probably be between $4,000 and $5,000. And it's a series of 12 questions that have been proven and nationally accepted. And I guess I would recommend, rather than drafting our own survey, we would go with what is accepted. And, if that meets the parameters of what you wish to achieve with that survey.
I'm okay with that, so I'll make the motion to the HR committee to review the Q12 survey?
Q12.
Q12.
Alderperson Katnow, you're next.
So we use the Gallup survey at Renaissance, and I think one of the benefits to it too, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it's normed nationally, so it puts it into perspective of not just your results back, but how do you compare it to other companies or municipalities that use that. So I would just like to say it's got a well response at the company I work at. So just throwing that out there. It would be something to consider if that's the route we're going to go.
Thank you. Are there any further requests to speak? Seeing none, we'll move into item 14, which is adjournment. Entertain a motion. We have a motion by Zerflu. Is there a second? Second by Rayom. And we'll move into vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. We stand adjourned. Wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.